Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Men of Yoshiwara Kikuya, or Gyakuten Kikuya. We are going to go after Iroha now. This will be our first episode pursuing him, and as you can see, he also has a second season, which I'm guessing is just as long as his original story, so he's going to take twice as long to finish as everybody else, if I am correct here. So, let's get started, and you can sit back, relax, and let me read you a story. Main volume, Chapter 1. Chapter 1, The Sake or the Kiss. After making up my mind, I stared at Iroha-san's face. I'd like to have you, Iroha-san. After clearly stating that, Iroha smiled at me gently. However, I wonder why I was getting a somewhat cold impression from him.
Well, well. I should be honored, shouldn't I?
He gave a brief snicker, and from that laugh I could feel that he was looking down on me. Was it bad for me to have chosen him? I felt confused and worried. Then, hey, I can't just ignore what you said. Did you say you're choosing Iroha? I'm the one you should be choosing. Takeo brought his face close to me and gave me a glare reminiscent of a wild beast. That's right, it was like a tiger. His smooth movements were beast-like. It made me utterly terrified. Don't come close to me. I retreated in fear. When I did, he suddenly grabbed my arm.
Hey, calm down. No one's going to try and eat you, miss. We're just having a little look at a cute girl.
After he said that, Tokyo scooted up next to me, which made my body shudder. Then, I heard the sound of someone clapping their hand right next to me.
Be quiet. You guys are being so loud in front of the shop.
Yes, I suppose we'll take our leave for now. Let's go, Tokyo.
All right. See you later, cutie.
While still carrying a conversation between themselves, Takeo and Tokyo left.
I apologize for all the noise.
No, it's okay.
You're such an adorable girl. So, it can't be helped that everyone wants to get friendly with you.
Oh no, but I'm just... Isn't someone like me just unusual in a place like this?
What do you mean by unusual?
I'm just a plain girl. I'm just a plain and simple girl that doesn't wear enough makeup.
That doesn't matter.
As I started to hang my head in disappointment, Takeo scooped my chin up and glared at me as if he were appraising my value. I think they meant Iroha. His beautiful fingers were cool to the touch. His eyes seemed like they could see through everything. They were terribly cold. I felt as if my heart would even forget to beat.
The more I look at you, the more I notice just how fine and beautiful your skin is. It's adorable how you're always reacting so innocently. It would seem that you have something that could bring pleasure to men.
Bring pleasure to men? I began to speak but held my tongue. My face further burned with embarrassment.
This is where gentlemen of the night sell their bodies.
After saying this, Iroha-san brought his lips close to my ears and whispered gently.
A girl who can't please a man won't receive her favorite gentleman's seed.
Huh? I was aware that that's the sort of place this is, but I feel that his description was pretty graphic. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear those kinds of things.
Oh, what a naive young lady. Well, I guess it will still be some time before you have a child.
His eyes are always tracing flowing curves. So smooth and moist, his glance is just so sensuous.
Well, shall we go, miss? Is something wrong? It won't bother me if you choose another gentleman.
No, I didn't mean...
Well then, this way, please. There is nothing to be nervous about.
He gently placed his hand on my back and urged me forward. With the incredible gentle motions of his hand and his tone, I was moved to step forward. What is this place? A normal parlor? What are we going to do here?
Miss, Miss, you seem to be the most inexperienced customer that I have ever met.
I'm sorry.
Why are you apologizing? I just thought that your reaction was adorable.
He directed an affectionate smile at me, easing my worries. Perhaps choosing him was the right choice. He is kind of caring and has a quiet demeanor, but deep inside his eyes, there's something that seems cold.
Please, sit in the seat of honor.
Okay. I sat down as instructed. Perhaps because I was nervous, my body remained stiff. It was clear to see how tense I was.
You'll wear yourself out if you get so worked up.
As he chuckled, Iroha-san swiftly brought his body close to mine. This greatly increased my anxiety.
Other clients also come here and get nervous, just like you are now.
What do you mean?
This is a place where gentlemen of the night exchange intimacies and drinks with customers. This is also your last chance to decide if your choice was truly a good one.
This is where intimacies are... So will I drink with you here, Iroha-san?
No. Just for today, as a special treat, I will take you to the room for the next stage.
Iroha-san shook his head slowly. When he did, his beautiful black hair swayed side to side. I became captivated by his glossy black hair.
Why are you staring at my face? Is something wrong?
I just thought that you're beautiful.
What a smooth talker you are.
The instant that I blurted out my true feelings, my face became heated. I'm not just flattering you.
I can tell from your eyes. They do not lie.
He stared at me, intertwined with mine. Why? Why can't I look away from his glance?
Well, shall we move on to the next room?
He seems to be taking pleasure in this. Iroha-san stood up smoothly. The way he moves is so beautiful. Could this be true beauty? The thought of this made me sigh. What an incredibly luxurious room. The furniture in this room is so expensive that even our warehouse can't sell it. The bed was lavishly decorated with gold foil and looked very comfortable.
As luck would have it, the client went back home. So I brought you to this room.
As luck would have it? Now that you mention it, I do recall that the client of someone named Kagura-san went back.
They didn't use this room, so perhaps it would be better if we used it. I made you come here, so as an apology, this will be your room for the night. Please feel free to use it.
What does he mean by feel free to use it? It's not like this is a hostel, so just what does that mean by feel free? I tilted my head in confusion.
So, why don't we retire for the night?
Huh? Gently, Iroha-san nestled his body into the bed. As this surprised me, he then called me over with a soft waving motion.
You seem quite worn out from being nervous today. Go ahead, come here. Come on, please lay down next to me.
All the power in my legs left me, and yet, Iroha-san's sex appeal slowly pulled me in closer to him.
Come on.
And finally, he extended his hand and pulled me in. He definitely didn't pull me in strongly, and yet he pulled me in with such ease. Warm, large, and rugged, the warmth of a man's body was right next to me. The more that I became aware of this, the more rigid my body became. Just as I began to say that I'd like to go back, Iroha-san's warm hands touched my hair. Ever so gently, as if he cherished it, Iroha-san's hands glided back and forth across my hair. He sealed my body's movement, completely, because it was so comfortable. My body that felt so stiff before was now losing its power. But, is this the pillow talk that happens in Yoshiwara?
What do you mean?
Just snuggling in bed and stroking my hair? Is that all? Iroha-san's eyes became wide with surprise. Oh, no, I mean, I understand that this isn't enough to create a child. So I mean, I absolutely had no idea what to say. I know I'm lacking in knowledge, but what I'm saying doesn't make any sense. I guess I should have known that he would laugh at me.
I'm sorry. I'm Kikuya's manager.
Iroha-san quickly stopped his laughter. He put on a thoughtful look and spoke in a persuasive tone. That's right, he did say he was a manager.
I see. I guess that I'll have to start my explanation from here. The job of a manager is to take care of the people in his shop. Entertaining clients is not included at my job description.
This made my eyes open wide with surprise. Oh, really? I didn't know that. I'm sorry for asking you to do this.
Please, don't worry about it. I thought you already knew that when you chose me. I thought that you didn't want anything to happen here. I'm sorry.
No, please.
Well, shall we start over?
It was as if Iroha-san's gaze were inviting me. That was all it took to make my heart skip a beat.
This isn't something that I usually ask customers. But allow me to ask you something.
Okay.
Do you want to experience pillow talk that happens in Yoshiwara?
My cheeks became hot with embarrassment once again. However, Iroha-san's serious eyes made me stop. I'm interested in that.
I see. If so, then as a representative of Kikuya, I will officially entertain you. To officially conduct relations in the red light district, there are a number of steps to be taken.
Okay, and this parlor was the place for that? As I wondered where he would take me next, I felt a sense of relief to know that this was the first place I was brought to.
Exactly. If it were a low-ranking gentleman of the night, you could sleep with him quickly. But for those we call courtesans, it would take 2 or 3 visits before you lay together. And nothing would happen unless you're chosen by the courtesan.
So, the client doesn't really choose the courtesan. So, what about me? I feel like I have absolutely no chance of ever being chosen by the courtesan called Takeo. More than that, I've already chosen Iroha-san, who's right before me.
There's no need for you to look so disappointed, because you're more than cute enough to be chosen.
No, please.
Well, let us drink together tonight, and get to know each other deeply.
Iroha-san poured alcohol into my cup. He carried himself smoothly and deftly, on movement that was in vain. I was utterly mesmerized.
Here you go, Misao-san.
I took the cup of sake and said to Iroha-san, let's see. Let's give him praise. Iroha-san, you're very beautiful.
Thank you, but why are you telling me this so suddenly?
Well, I mean...
You can't steal the heart of a gentleman with simple flattery.
I should have asked him his hobbies.
The night is long. Let us drink sake and have a leisurely conversation.
Okay. I said so with enthusiasm, but maybe because I don't have any chance to drink alcohol, the amount of sake in my glass barely went down. To start with, I could only take little sips of sake like a dog lapping up water. So that's just the way it was.
Miss, sake isn't something you can take little sips of.
I'm sorry.
Could it be because you're not used to it? Well then, this is where I have no choice but to make you drink.
What just happened? My mind didn't follow. Iroha-san's eyes got so close to me, and I felt something warm and very tender on my lips. Our lips were touching each other's. A sweet smell came forth from between his lips, and a liquid flowed and spread into my mouth. This is... sake? I gulped down the sake, and it ran down my throat. The sake left a hot, burning sensation in my throat, and my body temperature quickly rose. I now personally came to know that this is what happens when you drink sake. But what made me even more surprised was my kiss with Iroha. Why did you kiss me?
Is this your first time to kiss a man?
I nodded again and again.
That's what I thought. But this is the first time that I've seen such an innocent reaction. Are you not aware that your body desires a man?
What are you saying?
How regrettable that you are unaware of a woman's joy. Though I do not believe you will become aware of this tonight. I will entertain you with all my heart."
As soon as he said that, he took a swig of sake and kissed me again. Iroha-san's tongue churned the sake in my mouth along with my tongue. I was embarrassed by his action and tried to escape, but his tongue played harder with mine. My mouth, which had been closed, began to loosen, and sake spilled out. The cold liquid flowed from my mouth and reached my neck. This was the sweet sake that flowed forth from both our mouths.
"Oh, look at that. It's spilling from your mouth. Drink up."
But...
"I won't accept any excuses. Open your mouth."
Sake came into my mouth once again, but at the same time something else came in. It wasn't sake. Something soft stimulated my tongue.
"Your cheeks are blushing so adorably."
He licked my lips with his tongue, and a shudder came across my body.
I can tell that you're fully enjoying Kikuya.
I couldn't breathe well, so I opened my mouth. Without hesitation, Iroha poured the sake in his mouth into mine. If this continues, I'll get drunk in no time. No, maybe I'm already drunk. I found myself clinging to Iroha-san's neck. The position of my body made it look like I was begging him.
"Which do you want more, sake or my kiss?" Since you're hesitating to give an answer, would it be okay for me to assume that you want my kiss?
I don't know. Because I've never felt like this before.
Nothing would give me more pleasure. I will guide you through the night of your dreams.
Iroha-san's thin lips approached me. Maybe it was because of the sake, but his lips were glowing in an obscene manner. Though I felt embarrassed, the urge to kiss him myself coursed through me.
It appears that Kikuya suits you.
Huh?
It's written on your face. It says, "I want it right now."
Perhaps Iroha's words are correct. That's why I suddenly tried to escape.
Where are you running off to? There's nowhere for you to escape to.
I wonder if this is what it feels like to want a man. From my lips I felt an incredible ecstasy, and my head became light. I felt like I didn't care what would happen to me anymore. And my heart felt this way too. As I drowned in sake and Iroha-san's kisses, before I knew it, I lost consciousness. Chapter 2: The Event of Last Night. The morning sun shined on my face, disrupting my slumber. I wanted to sleep just a little longer, though. I opened my eyes to try and wake up before my mother could come and wake me. Huh? This room is quiet and modest. Where am I? What am I doing here? I immediately recalled the events of last night. My cheeks instantly became hot with shame. The things I did in that luxurious and gorgeous room. They were all experiences that I tasted for the first time. That night was fraught with danger and temptation.
Why are you making such a sour face in the morning?
When I turned back, Iroha-san was looking down at me while carrying 2 trays in his hands. Iroha-san, what am I doing here?
Why don't I explain over breakfast? Well, come out of bed.
Yes, sorry. I just woke up, but Iroha-san appears to have already dressed himself and done his morning preparations. I'm so pathetic. I dressed myself and got out of bed.
Well then, shall we have breakfast?
Iroha-san placed a tray in front of me. Iroha-san then swiftly sat down. But because he sat facing me, I felt somewhat uncomfortable.
Please eat.
Okay, thank you. I took the chopsticks in my hand and began to bring food to my mouth. I then caught a glimpse of Iroha. He was eating his food with a nonchalant look on his face.
If you would like to say something, now's the time to say it.
He said that while with his eyes on my tray. I was wondering why I'm in this room.
I had no choice but to carry you to my room. Please forgive me.
You had no choice?
Yes. It was time for you to get going, but there were no signs of you waking up anytime soon.
Sorry. I didn't know that was the reason. I've never overslept like that before.
Perhaps because you had sake in you.
Sake? As soon as he said that, I remembered what I did last night. I kissed him so many times, and in the end, we kissed as I clung to him. When I remembered that, I became so embarrassed that it felt like flames were bursting from my face.
I guess it can't be helped, since many of those experiences were firsts for you after all.
For the first time, as Iroha-san pointed that out, my heart skipped a beat. Unable to properly form my words, I returned my chopsticks to the tray and stood up. I'm truly sorry for troubling you yesterday. I bowed with great force. Then I darted out of Iroha-san's room to escape. I don't remember much after that. I just ran, and ran some more. I soon found that I was no longer in Kikuya. But in the silence of Inari Shrine, my heart ran wild from shame. And to try to calm my heart, I crouched down in a corner of the grounds of Inari Shrine. If I could erase yesterday's events, I thought about that over and over. What am I doing? Drinking that much sake? In my current state, I guess you could say that I wanted to crawl into a hole. And beyond that, my memory is fuzzy. I let out a sigh of exasperation as I held my head. Then I suddenly remembered and stood up. That's right, it happened while I was taking care of an errand yesterday. Thinking that my mother must be worried, I hurried back. I snuck back into my room. The sliding door clattered loudly as it was opened. Welcome home, Misao. You were planning to come back in without so much as a hello, weren't you? I'm sorry. Before you apologize, tell me where you went to last night. Actually, I went to Kikuya, where I bought the package. But I didn't really do anything. Who would believe that you could spend a night in the red light district and not do anything? Misao, you're still too young to get acquainted with a man, let alone have a child. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to have made you worry. But really, I didn't do anything. I can't do anything because that's already happened, but you really have to be careful. You need to know that you'll get played with and abandoned. Once I nodded deeply in response to my mother's words, I left my room relieved. Iroha-san? It really was the night of my dreams. When I remembered Iroha-san's kiss, somewhere deep inside, my chest ached. He must be disappointed that I actually fainted. Oh, and I didn't pay any money. Should I go back to that red light district? The thought of that made me recoil, and what could this hot feeling be? What should I do? A few days passed since I visited Kikuya. Misao, what are you daydreaming about? Don't tell me you're remembering Yoshiwara again. No, not at all. Strange. There's nothing strange about me. I'm okay, don't worry. I was surprised at just how sharp my mom's senses were. I had already settled on going to Kikuya today to pay the money. I'll be right back. I'm sorry, Mom. When I came into Kikuya, I was taken aback. Iroha-san greeted me with his arms crossed, in an imposing stance. I feel that it would be misleading to say that he greeted me.
What are you doing here in the middle of the night? You didn't think it would be dangerous?
I was just so focused on coming. I'm sorry.
This is not the kind of thing where everything will be okay with an apology.
But nothing happened. When I said that and smiled, a flash of anger came across Iroha-san's face.
So what?
He's so scary.
This time you're safe, and I'm glad to see that. But I don't know what will happen next time.
As he coldly declared that, he keenly communicated that he was worried about me and I should be careful. I felt a sense of remorse from the bottom of my heart and bowed.
I would never in my life ask you to go out at this time.
Okay.
So, what did you come here for today?
Ah, yes. I forgot to pay last time.
You came all this way to bring your payment. You really didn't have to do something like that.
Why?
Did I do something that required money that night? If you're saying that I was taking care of a child, then I guess that might warrant payment.
Don't say something like that. You were so nice to me before.
Indeed, no Yoshiwara gentleman would treat a client coldly.
Iroha-san's words cut into my own naive idea. Kissing is a part of the job, and if directed, anyone can do that. Even if I wanted to understand it in my mind, my heart would not follow.
You understand, don't you? You need to take the money and go back home immediately. I'll have someone who has nothing to do accompany you.
My heart ached so much that tears formed before my eyes. When I did this without a word, he put out one of his arms. Thinking that he was chasing me out, I flinched and shrunk my shoulders inward.
Don't be scared.
Just like before, his hand began to gently stroke my head. Iroha-san.
Well then, it will be unsafe for you to go back now. Why don't you spend the night here and return in the morning?
Would I spend the night with you, Iroha-san? As I said that, I noticed that I had said something really childish.
No, I won't be there, so please spend your time relaxing.
But it would be better if I were with Iroha-san. To say that it would be better with him. I never imagined that I could say something like that. To think that until yesterday, I was in agony over the shame of what I had done.
You're something else.
I'm sorry. He would probably look down upon an honest girl like me saying something like that.
You have quite a bit of courage, don't you?
Because it's Iroha-san.
Did I do something to you?
I think that now is my only chance to choose you since you're a manager.
Be that as it may, this is not an issue that I can easily accept.
Oh no. Huh? What, it's you again? If Iroha rejects you, then why don't I be your partner?
It's better if you partner up with a veteran. I'll take care of you.
Oh wow, I heard a rumor that you partnered up with the manager. Choose me. No, this is just the right time for me.
I'll take care of you in a short amount of time.
This is just like an exhibition. I can't stand this. Without answering, I put my head down. Then I heard the sound of clapping.
Quiet. You should all be ashamed of yourselves.
Iroha-san's words were said coldly, and in reaction, the gentleman's movements instantly stopped.
She chose me once. Even if I am a manager, I took her as my wife for the night. I intend to take care of this lady until she is satisfied.
He glanced at them to stop the rowdy gentleman of the night.
Is that all right with you? Let it be known that she is my client.
I wasn't sure if this was because Iroha-san's glare, but the gentleman of the night fell silent. Just who were those people? I heard the gentlemen of the night have a top education and master singing and entertainment, but those guys from before were looking down upon me like they were appraising me. Everyone certainly had beautiful and gentle features. But if that's so, why did I feel so uncomfortable to be surrounded by them?
I've taken on quite the troublemaker.
I listened to Iroha-san's complaints as we walked forward. I'm sorry. If you don't like me, then I should choose some other...
Misao-san, those guys will play with you.
Iroha-san stopped and turned back. His profile left me with a sober and cold expression that made my heart anxious. What do you mean they'll play with me?
Exactly as I said. They steal money from their clients and quit when there's nothing left.
Squeeze. I remembered what my mother had said and held my body. It sounded so terrifying. But it's probably because this is Yoshiwara. Perhaps I've unwittingly embarked down a path of carnage.
Are you scared?
Just a little. Just a little. I wanted him to know my true feelings.
So that's why I told you that it's still too early.
He sighed heavily, but just from his profile, I could see that Iroha-san had a slight smile. Well, thank you for saving me.
It's not something you need to thank me for. I had no choice but to take you in.
Though he looked down on me with cold eyes, I also felt strongly aware of his kindness and big heart. Okay, that is it for today's reading. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in my future videos. I'd be so grateful for any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye-bye, everybody.